Look back at the story. It says in verse 37, let's look at this woman. When a certain immoral woman from that city heard he was eating there, she brought a beautiful alabaster jar filled with expensive perfume. Then she knelt beside him at his feet, weeping. Like her tears fell at his feet, and she wiped them with her hair. Then she kept kissing his feet and putting perfume on them. Like, this is what the woman's life looked like. This. And everybody knew it. But guess what? She knew it too. Like, she knew how broken she was. That's why she's coming weeping in repentance to Jesus, because she hears about Jesus. Think about this. She hears that Jesus is in town, and she's heard this is the guy that I heard he has the power to forgive sin. I heard that he heals people. And so she's like, I got to go see him. And she takes this huge risk because she's like, maybe that'll bring the joy back in my life, the freedom back. Maybe he'll forgive me. And she takes this risk, and it's a huge risk, by the way, because she's an immoral woman, and she goes into the home of a Pharisee, a religious leader. She has no business being in that home. They could easily just say, do not come in here. And then she goes and she touches the feet of the rabbi, of Jesus. You don't, listen, in that culture, in that time period, you don't touch the Holy One. You don't touch the rabbi if you are an immoral person. But she's like, I've got to get to Jesus. Maybe you can relate to that. I think a lot of us can. Do you remember that moment for you? I remember mine. I mean, where you just recognized your brokenness and how just jacked up and messed up your life was, and you thought, okay, maybe Jesus will forgive me. And you took a risk and you went to church. You remember that moment when you just stepped into the house of God and you're like, okay, and I hope lightning doesn't strike me. And then you remember asking for forgiveness. Do you remember that moment? And how beautiful that was? That's this woman in this moment. You got to wonder what led to this moment in this woman's life. Was she like reflecting the night before, and maybe a man had just left her bed? And she's just reflecting man after man after man, and she's just seeing how she's just being used and abused and taken advantage of and just tossed around like a piece of trash. And in that moment, she just kind of thinks, maybe, just maybe, if I go to Jesus. And she's just tired. I'd like for you to write this down, because here is what repentance is, and here's how we come to repentance in our lives. The first thing is this: repentance begins with reflection. Write that down. Repentance begins with reflection. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you reflected on the state of your soul? When was the last time you reflected on your sin? When was the last time you reflected and took a deep inward look? Now, I know when I say that, you're probably like, wait a second. I mean, Brad, yes, I did that like years ago. I mean, I asked Jesus to forgive me. He came into my heart. I stamped my ticket to heaven. Am I missing something? Last week, we were talking about Luke and Celeste and how they got married, and we showed their engagement picture. And Laura was joking around about our engagement picture. In fact, I've got a copy of that. I found it, and it's not a very good copy, but this is our engagement picture. Now, when you see this picture, it looks like a picture from, like, I don't know, from the 1940s or something like that. I mean, it looks that old, but it's not really that old. It's just a grainy photocopy. It's the best I could find. But when you look at that picture, we look really happy, don't we? I mean, we look really happy. I mean, it's like, look at them, happy couple. No, we weren't. We weren't happy. We weren't happy at all. In fact, we'd had one of our biggest fights ever. And to this day, after 36 years of marriage, we were married in 1984, by the way. That's the year. Happy 80s. And when we got, at that time where we got engaged, that is the worst fight I think one of the worst fights we've ever had in 36 years of marriage. So much so, when we got to take the photograph, because you go for the appointment, and he's like, okay, get in there tight, look at each other, smile, okay? And she just looked, she's like, don't touch me, do not touch me. And she was really ticked. And I can tell you this, as a man, I said, will you forgive me? Because here's what I know about women. Women and Jesus have two things in common. Number one, they've never ever done anything wrong. And number two, everybody's always go to them to ask forgiveness. That's what every guy understands, okay? So come on now. You know I'm not lying on that one. That is the truth. I want to tell you this, though. That is not the last time I had to ask Laura to forgive me. What's made our relationship healthy and strong, what has brought us together in love, as I said earlier, is that love is forgiveness and forgiving is love. Is that because I've asked her forgiveness and at times she's asked for my forgiveness, we have grown together in love. And in the Lord's Prayer, what Jesus is trying to say here is that repentance is not a one-time thing. Repentance is an all-the-time thing. Come on, turn to somebody in your neighborhood gathering and tell them, repentance is an all-the-time thing. Repentance is an all-the-time thing. It's daily reflecting. Daily looking at my life, not looking for glaring big sins. You know, it's like this shirt. Can I tell you this? Like this hole right here, that did not develop overnight. That happened over time. At one point, it was a smaller hole, like one of these. And if I had taken care of it when it was like this, it wouldn't look like that. Okay. That's what you and I need to do. When we come before God every single day, we look at those things in our lives that don't become larger things that will destroy us, but we take care of it. It doesn't mean we go digging for something that's not there. That's not what I'm saying. Like you just all day, every day, on your face, crying out to God. That's not what I'm saying there. I'm saying that, but every day I'm thinking about my thoughts. Like in the last yesterday, God, was there anything that I was thinking about? Anything I had my mind on that was not pleasing to you? I mean, your words, think about your words, just reflecting on your words. What did I say to the people around me? What did I say about other people? What did I post online? What did I say? Was there anything, God, that was demeaning? Was there anything I said that was out of line and not with your character? It's about looking at your actions, you know. God, was there anything that I did that didn't please you, that doesn't line up with who Jesus is? And just sitting in that for a moment and letting the last 24 hours and letting God just kind of reflecting on that and allowing God to speak to you and to show you those areas in your life. That happens through reflection.